Yeah, sorry about that. It booted me off as soon as I was telling you this. I was
Oh,
like,
it's
the
okay.
Wi-Fi kicked me off on my side. All
No worries. No
right,
worries.
all right. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome once again to Baddest Chaplain Podcast. Hoping all is well with you and yours. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Coach Turner of the Jamaican men's national basketball team. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I love it.
No, it's an honor. It's a joy. I'm so excited, both as a basketball fan and a person of Jamaican ancestry. It's really exciting to be able to talk with you about this for sure.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course, no problem. So tell me a bit about your personal journey. Like, what brought you to coaching first, and how did you end up with the Jamaican men's national basketball team?
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know how much time we have. I'll try to do the short version of the story. Um, well, the probably more information than you want version is I was working at the Seattle Supersonics,
Mm-hmm.
doing wearing a lot of different hats, and I was working um, with a little bit with the scouting department, and my job was the director of broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
So I traveled with the team, and I was at all the practices, and Coach Carl would let me lend a hand wherever I could. And there was an opportunity for me to be the courtside reporter
All right.
for the team on the television broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a meeting. Everyone had bought off on it, and we were going to do it. And the new president of the team said no. So I asked if I could meet with him and talk to him about it and give him some of my background, what I had been doing up to that point. I had been with the team for 10 years, and I'd been, doing minor league baseball play-by-play and filling in on various sports talk shows. And we had the meeting, and I laid it out for him. And he sat back in his chair, and he put his hands behind his head like this, and he looked at me, and he said, "This is the Seattle Supersonics.
Oof.
We're not in the business of giving people opportunities."
Oof.
And at that moment, a light bulb went off at the top of my head, and I
Yeah.
thought, I got to do something different. I've given everything, my entire life, to this team
Right.
and to this job, and I just didn't like that response.
Of
So,
course.
I searched and thought, what do I want to do? And I'd really been called to want to coach, and
Mm-hmm.
I had been coaching on the side throughout, and like I said, so I had a conversation with George Carl about it and told him what I wanted to do, and he gave me some advice, and I called a former coach of mine and asked him if he needed any help.
Mm-hmm.
He said, ironically, I just retired yesterday.
You're
so
kidding.
but I know the guy that they're going to hire, so why don't you speak with him?
Yeah.
And so I went and volunteered at a local junior college um, for a season. I
Mm.
ultimately became the athletic director. The head coach left. Pulled a Greg Popovich, as I tell my
Yes.
friends. I hired myself as the
That's
head
right.
coach, and then that's kind of the journey just sort of started there. And 25 years later or whatever,
Right.
we're here. You asked me about how I got involved with Jamaica.
Mm.
Um, 25 years ago, I was invited to do a basketball camp for kids in the country.
Uh-huh.
We did it at St. George's College in Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
I got off the plane, immediately went to the courts, where one of the guys handed me a broom and said, "Start sweeping."
Right.
So we swept 3 barrels full of gravel, rocks off the courts before camp started.
Wow.
My hands were blistered. It was hot. The kids
Yeah.
were unruly. I thought, what am I doing here? What did I get myself into?
Right.
And it changed my life after that. I
Yeah.
had a chance to go back the next year, and the camp grew a little bit and grew a little bit more. And then
Mhm.
ultimately the guy that was, and this is through the jump ball basketball program, and the
Okay.
guy that invited me down went to go coach at the University of Missouri, and I took that program over from a basketball operations standpoint. We the camp is now at the National Stadium courts. We have 300 kids a week. We also do 6 rural clinics around the island.
Awesome.
We started doing camps in Haiti a few years ago. We haven't been able to go back there for the last 3 or 4 years for obvious reasons, but the program's really grown. Where we were reaching about 800 to 1,000 kids each summer. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the people, and they embraced me, and I fell in love with the passion that they have. And I also, frankly, fell in love with the potential of what I thought basketball could be.
Yeah.
So, starting in about 2008, and I remember it specifically being 2008 because I was in China, coaching in China. It was the Beijing Olympics.
Right.
And I had put together a proposal for Minister Grange, the sports minister, who was the sports minister at the time, then since left and now is back. But told her about my interest in coaching the national team. And that's kind of where that part of it started. So then over the course of, a decade or so, various people coming and going within JABA, the Jamaica Basketball Association. And then again in 2019, I spoke with all of them. I spoke with all those presidents and told them my vision. In 2019, I put another business plan together of what I thought we could do with the program, where we could take it, what it should be, what it could be. And Paulton Gordon took me up on it. And as I've told people, I'm now a little bit, or at the time at least, felt like the dog who finally caught the car.
Yeah, right.
Now what do we do? So we thought the best thing to do right away is to create a goal for ourselves. And so we started talking about Paris 2024 as a goal. Why not us? We can, we will.
Right.
I knew and know that we have great potential to do great things in basketball. And then the COVID happened, and, it just shut everything down. And so I did my best to kind of just keep awareness going. So I created my own YouTube live stream where I would interview former players. It was basketball. It was Jamaica. I talked to, potential future players and current players and former players. And I talked NBA, and we talked to college basketball, and we talked reggae boys and anything to just keep the idea of what we were doing alive during the COVID. And then, so then coming out of the COVID, which was sort of slow, we found ourselves in a position to where we just wanted to play, and we didn't really know how to go about getting back in the water after having been dormant since 2013. So I got on the phone. I just called the president of FIBA Americas and spoke to him and told him who I was and what we wanted to do, and how excited we were to try to return Jamaica basketball to the world stage. I said, what do we do? What's next for us? Who do we talk to? So he put me in touch with the competitions person at FIBA. And he said to me, this was March of 2021. He said, there's a tournament in 3 weeks. Can you put a team together?
All right.
And the only answer to that question is yes. It's not, let me think about it.
I'll get back to you.
And let me do some phone calls. I don't know. So I said yes. And then, so at that point, we had to, in 3 weeks, assemble a team of guys who met the FIBA eligibility requirements. But also were available. This was March of 2021, and it's the middle of the basketball season.
That's right.
So, we were getting guys who were, either waiting for phone calls for overseas jobs or, hadn't played in a while or whatever. We assembled 10 guys from 9 different cities who had to pass 3 different COVID tests in order to get to El Salvador.
Goodness.
We met each other. Our first game was on a Thursday. We met each other for the first time on the Wednesday. Did our first practice. Literally had never met. Didn't do any training. We did a shoot around on that Thursday before our first game. My assistant coach and team manager tested positive for COVID.
Oh my goodness.
The day of the game. So it was just me and our team coaching my first FIBA game. No help from any assistants because they were quarantined. As it turned out, it was a false positive.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't really have COVID, but they tested positive, so they made them quarantine in their room.
Yeah.
And it was sheer chaos,
Sounds like it.
Trying to get this figured out, and all the kind of the I's to dot and the T's to cross within the game management of a FIBA game. And then we go out and we beat Costa Rica in that first game.
Yeah.
And then we play the next day and we beat Guyana.
Come on.
And then we played Nicaragua in the third of back-to-back-to-back.
Yeah.
And they ran us out of the gym. I think we were just dead.
Yeah.
After 3 games in a row, we took a day off. Then we played El Salvador on the last day and lost at the buzzer. So we didn't really advance out of that.
Right.
And it's almost maybe kind of a good thing that we didn't, because I'm not sure we were really prepared.
Sure.
From a funding standpoint.
Understood.
To make it happen.
Understood.
We had raised just enough money to be able to get ourselves to El Salvador and do that properly. So I'm sure we probably would have figured a way, but I like to look back on it and think maybe it was a blessing. I don't know.
Yeah, not here.
But so then in 2022, we had no place to play. Nobody within the Caribbean stepped up to host a tournament, because the way you qualify out is you play within your small subset region and then you kind of keep going up.
Makes sense.
And no one in the Caribbean stepped up to host. So they sent a letter out that said, in lieu of us not finding a host, we're going to advance the top 2 teams out of our region to go to the next. Okay. And those 2 teams were, I think, Antigua and Barbados.
Okay.
And we were 1/10 of a ranking point behind to be in order to advance.
Yeah.
So we got left behind. Right. 2023, the same thing happened. No one stepped up to host a tournament. The top 2 teams advanced and we're left at home.
Right.
2024 came and we started figuring out if we want to ever play again, we're going to have to host a tournament.
Right.
So we looked into doing that. We found out that it's about $500,000 US to host a tournament.
Okay.
We didn't have anywhere near that.
Sure. Nor
did we have, the support for that.
Right.
But at least we were kind of talking about it.
Right.
And so again, the same thing happened. We were left behind, and we're just stuck in this purgatory of we can't play because we're not ranked high enough, and we can't get ranked higher if we don't play.
Exactly.
So what do you do? So this last February, I went down to Kingston. I met with my boss, Paulton Gordon, and I said, I don't want to work behind your back. I want you to know what I'm doing, but let me try to figure this out, because we got to play. We're starting to get a little bit of buzz. We're starting to talk to NBA players who are interested.
Right.
We're starting to maybe get some people thinking about funding us. So let's figure it out. So after our meeting, I decided I'm going to drive to Negril, spend a day at the beach before I go home to Seattle, where I live.
Yeah.
And on the way to Negril, Paulton called me and said, I got back to my desk after our meeting, and FIBA sent out the email again. And the email said, again, in lieu of the fact that we can't find anyone to host, we're going to just advance the top 2 teams out of our region into the next round of qualifying. Those 2 teams are Virgin Islands and Jamaica.
Whoa.
And we were like, whoa, what happened? so
Right.
yeah, so then it was on at that point, like, okay, let's get this done. So in February, we cranked it up. We turned the volume level to 11, and with the help of mostly the Marley Foundation, but others, including National Bakery and Rainforest and the Jamaica Tourist Board, we've been able to get the funding together to train in Boca Raton, Florida for a week leading up to a tournament in Mexico coming up August 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And that tournament the results of that tournament will change the face of basketball in Jamaica, I think, forever if we have success. So that is a super, super long answer to your first question of how I got started in it. But that's it. That's how I got started in it. And that's where we are right now.
Now I'm here for it. Now I appreciate that, because it's really, I assumed it was a journey, because I think about just the momentum one would need to have an island where this isn't like the number one sport on the island. This isn't the most popular sport. So to build that sort of momentum, I imagined it would take time. And as you described it, it definitely takes time. But I definitely have the question, like, as you think about the popularity of other sports on the island, like cricket and football and track, obviously being a sport that has attained global success for Jamaica. What has it been like trying to build not just like interest, but like really proving the viability? Like, yeah, this is a place where this is a sport that Jamaica can excel in as well. Like, what has that been like?
Yeah, well, I think basketball is a little bit more popular in Jamaica than people maybe give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second largest sport in the world behind football.
Right.
And there's really a grassroots vibe to it in the country. I think really the only thing that is holding basketball back in Jamaica is really sort of the infrastructure and accessibility to the sport year round. There's various leagues where you can play. I mean, there's really one indoor basketball court on the entire island, at GC Foster, with a wood basketball floor and, like a real basketball setting to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's other indoor facilities, but they have concrete floors and, I'm talking about basketball facilities.
Right.
So that's what we lack. I think, one of the things that we could really take advantage of is if we were to get some facilities, basketball tourism could be something that could be huge on the island.
For sure.
And the reason we can't do it is because there's really no place to play right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's, people continue to tell me all the other sports that are take precedent over basketball, but I just think once the fuse is lit, mm-hmm. and if we do what we want to do and what we expect to do in August, I think the perception of basketball is going to dramatically change.
Yeah, I hear that. That's really exciting. I kind of got hip to this movement that's been growing just from seeing as an NBA fan, players start to commit. Like I saw like Norman Powell's being mentioned, and like the Thompson twins being mentioned. I believe Nick Richards as well. So as we're seeing more NBA players of Jamaican descent make an impact in the league, they're not just in the league, these are young players who are thriving. What does that mean for the program to have these young players, everyone I've mentioned, Norm Powell is like, an all-star consideration. The Thompson twins are future stars in the league. Nick Richards is as well. Like, what does it mean for the future of basketball in Jamaica to have these players showing interest in the national team as well?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of a complicated question because there's a FIBA rule, and which is really hard for people to understand because they're used to the FIFA rule,
right?
Of which if you own a passport or citizen of any country, you can play for that country.
Mm-hmm.
For us, the rule is very specific and they're very hard, steadfast on it. And that is, you have to have been born in Jamaica or obtained your passport before the age of 16 in order to play for I say Jamaica, but any national team.
Sure.
South Korea or Uruguay or Brazil or whatever. So that's a challenge when it comes to NBA players. Each team gets one exception to that rule, which they call a naturalized player.
Yeah.
And for us in August, Norman Powell is our naturalized player.
Okay.
Nick Richards was born in Jamaica, so he has no eligibility problems. But as far as like the Thompson twins go, we'd have to make a compelling appeal on their behalf to get them eligible to play because they were born in the States.
Got you.
But it is exciting that they want to be a part of it. Devin Vassell was in Jamaica 2 weeks ago and did a little clinic down there in Montego Bay with about 30 kids, and it was a lot of fun. And
Awesome.
Devin wants to be a part of it. And we've talked to Scotty Barnes, and he wants to be a part of it. And the Champagny brothers want to be a part of it.
Come on.
Like you mentioned, the Thompsons and there's a lot of guys that wear their Jamaican heritage proudly.
For sure.
Isaiah Stewart, another one.
Right.
But that FIBA rule is challenging for us.
Yes.
So, we're working to explore ways to get them more involved with basketball in Jamaica, so there can possibly be an appeal process in place.
For sure.
But right now we're focused on August. We've got the roster that we have, which is an excellent group of guys, and if we put our best foot forward in those 3 games, then we move on to a window in November. To play again, and it's on at that point. At that point, we have a chance to qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, that is exciting.
And the Olympics,
of course. So what has the impact so far? Just thinking about, you just mentioned Devin Vassell running a clinic in Mobile. Like, what has been the presence of these high profile players? What has that done for the morale for the local players and for fans of the game?
I think it's great. I mean, they've been getting a lot of coverage in the media locally. The kids, just the reaction of the kids is awesome. Like I said before, people are into NBA basketball in Jamaica. And so it's not like these guys are coming down as unknown strangers. These are guys that our Jamaican kids look up to, and just the fact that they're proud of their Jamaican background and want to share that. I think the guys that go down get as much or more out of it than the kids do.
For sure.
Because it's a chance to connect with their culture.
Yeah, that's lovely. Have there been efforts from basically like NBA alums, like players who have retired in the past who've had Jamaican ancestry? Has this been like a trend in the past, or is this something sort of like a revival with or a new frontier in terms of like NBA players coming in and running camps on the island?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a little complicated to explain the whys, and I'm not really sure of all the whys.
Sure.
But from like I said, we essentially haven't really played meaningful games since 2013.
Yeah, right.
And that, just to give you a little bit of an analogy that may or may not resonate with your audience. I told you I worked for the Seattle Supersonics. I grew up in Seattle. I was a Sonics fan since I was 6 years old,
For sure.
and we lost the team in 2008.
Right.
I won't even say the name of the city where they went, but
I hear you.
everyone knows. Okay,
I
so
hear you.
we lost the team in 2008. So it's coming up on 20 years without a basketball team,
Come on.
and there's just a segment. It's a generation of kids in Seattle
Right.
that didn't grow up with NBA basketball.
Yeah.
And to me, when you're old like me, I look back on it, and the Sonics were like something I did, a few weeks ago. Like,
Of course.
it's not. But when you've never had an NBA team in your city,
Right.
you don't have, Gary Payton to be your favorite player, or Sean Kemp,
Come
or
on.
Sam Perkins, or any Jack Sikma.
Right.
You don't Kevin Durant. Like those guys don't resonate now. Now your favorite players are LeBron James and
Yeah.
Damian Lillard, or like they're all in other cities.
Of course.
So anyway, that's a long-winded way to say that it was a little similar with basketball in Jamaica,
Mhm.
because we've gone since 2013. So that's a lifetime when you're a
Come
kid.
on. Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Like your whole
So-
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah. So there has been no basketball.
Mhm.
There's been that gap of, what is it? Almost 15 years now. Is that right? Am I
Yeah,
doing my math right?
Just about.
But 10 at least. Yeah, 10.
Yeah. 12 years. Yeah. Mhm.
12 years. But there's that gap there. So any of those NBA players with that Jamaican heritage or whatever, there was nothing to be a part of, to look toward. So not only were we missing basketball on the island, in a big way,
Right.
those NBA players that you mentioned didn't have anything to reconnect to.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Understood.
Yeah. So I think the sort of the renaissance with it
Yeah.
is the fact that we're actually going to have a team.
Right. Right. of
So
course.
now those guys, and I don't even want to say who don't have the opportunity to play with Team USA, because I think given the choice, many of them would choose Jamaica
Right.
over Team USA.
I believe it.
But the fact that we do have a team now we're starting to hear from guys who have that Jamaican heritage
Yeah.
and do want to be involved and want to be a part of it, and so that part of it's cool.
Very much so. Very much so. So beyond talent, what are the key building blocks that you believe Jamaica needs to establish a strong, sustainable national program?
Well, all of it comes down to funding. I mean, I hate to
Yeah.
say it like that, and it's really awkward to have to go with your hand out to people,
Yeah.
like telling them about this cool program, and the historic journey that we're on, and anytime that I tell somebody what I'm doing, they always bring up the bobsled team, or they
Oh
bring
God.
up, Usain Bolt, or
Right. Right. Right.
Jillian, or because the history of Jamaican athletics is
Yes.
so great. But it's completely dependent upon funding.
Yeah.
And especially when you are trying to field an elite team,
Mm-hmm.
you have players who are elite and are
Right.
used to an elite experience, I guess.
For sure. The
lack of a better way of
accommodations.
putting
And,
it.
yeah.
So we're not trying to overfund the program and do ridiculous things, but at the same time, there was a time in the program where Jamaica would travel and they would put 4 players in a room because that's all they could afford,
Right. Right.
and they
Yeah.
wouldn't have per diem for guys. They'd
Oof.
be, couldn't afford that,
Yeah.
or didn't have great, practice gear and uniforms, and there isn't there isn't the infrastructure within the island, like I said. So that's part that needs to happen. We need to have youth players, from 10 years old playing year round.
Yeah.
And the opportunities like are here in the States, like in AAU basketball or club basketball or even at their high schools where kids here, if you want basketball, you can play every day of the year somewhere.
Right.
That's not the case. And that's just, we need dollars to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So considering the partnerships that have gotten you to this juncture, at least to be able to say we're going to compete in August and have a shot at the cup and at the Olympics, like what partnerships locally, regionally, internationally have been critical to growing the game so far?
Yeah, well, I hesitate only in that I don't want to leave people out, but
I hear that too.
First of all, we wouldn't be anywhere right now without the help of Cedella Marley and the Bob and Rita Marley Foundation.
Right.
That really was the point when she got involved that we had at least enough backing to know that we can play. And it also gave us a legitimacy when talking to other people, other potential sponsors, that this was a real thing. Like I said, when we've been dormant, for 12 years, to come back and have the appearance of being legitimate was kind of hard. We still need to regain the trust of the business community that we're here to stay.
Yeah.
But it's not just a flash in the pan, and it's something that they can support and get behind and feel good about. Another one who has been instrumental in making this happen is Annabella Siaga Mian. And Annabella got involved with us a few months ago, or maybe a year ago. But her ability to get her phone calls answered, for one.
Right.
And her relationships that she's built, over her time in Jamaica has led us to some open doors, with National Bakery, Rainforest Foods, the Jamaica Tourist Board. I mentioned all of these guys earlier. And then a lot of it really is a lot of small donations. Many hands make light work, right? So just as many people to chip in $100, $500 at a time, gives us the breathing room
for sure
to try to make this bigger and better. And we hope to do that. When August 11th comes and the tournament in Mexico is over, my hope is that our work is only more difficult and tougher as we prepare for the World Cup qualifying tournament that starts in November, which is going to be really cool. The way FIBA has formatted that tournament now, we would move into a 16-team tournament that's divided into 4 pools of 4.
Okay.
We would play in 3 windows. We'd play those teams in 3 windows: November 25, February 26, and July 26. And we would play home and away contests, with each of those teams in each of those windows. So our pools are either going to be, if we finish second, we're going to be in a pool with Canada, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas. 3 fantastic teams.
Yes.
Big teams. Which means all 3 of those teams are going to be playing in Jamaica.
Right.
They're going to be playing in Kingston, or they're going to be playing, at the convention center in Mo Bay, wherever we decide to host those games.
Yeah.
And it's going to set basketball on fire.
Absolutely.
If we win our pool in Mexico, we're going to be in a pool with USA, Dominican Republic, and Nicaragua.
Ooh,
and just to me, the thought of us hosting Team USA for a match in Kingston. I think it would be so exciting for the sport.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to need more support.
Yeah.
When that time comes. And I think the excitement will be such that people are going to want to get behind us and want to be a part of it. We are soon going to be announcing a partnership with a shoe company that is exciting as well.
Awesome.
That should be just in the coming days.
All right.
But that's something that we've needed for a long time. And
of course,
and they will support our gear, and they will provide a platform to sell merchandise. They're going to develop a shoe for Jamaica basketball, a special
that's awesome.
Jamaica basketball shoe. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming.
Yeah, no, that makes a world of sense, because I just think about, brand Jamaica, how it's often referred to within the diaspora. It's just like I've seen in football, like Arsenal had the kit that was like Jamaican colors, and all throughout culture, people love wearing Jamaican colors. Like when I was going to parties as a teenager in Brooklyn, I put on my Yachty shirt and still go to the party. So it's a huge
I get
it. For sure.
Yeah.
Just thinking as a leader, how are you approaching this task in terms of building a culture that's not only competitive, but also is honoring the unique spirit of Jamaican athleticism and culture?
Yeah, like I told you at the beginning, one of the things that I guess a characteristic in people that I'm attracted to is passion.
Yeah.
And people in Jamaica do not lack passion for anything in their life.
For sure. That's a fact.
So, and I love that. I don't know that I think my heart beats at a little lower level, and so I like to have people surrounding me that are a little more up tempo, if you will.
Hear you.
So I love that passion. Mm-hmm. I want to use that passion and channel it in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, from a leadership standpoint, I think I don't want to try to put people into boxes. I want them to be the best them they can be. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
Like
Totally.
Be you. Be you, and figure out a way to make it work with us.
Right.
So kind of empowering people to be themselves,
mm-hmm.
And integrate that for the betterment of the group and the team. So we're all kind of rowing in the same direction.
No doubt.
I think is important. But I just think we have a leg up because we have superior athletes. We have a passion to win.
Mm-hmm.
We have a history of success on the big stage.
Right.
And I think my part is to insert the hard work part of it, that it's not a birthright to just be successful, that you gotta really put the work in.
Absolutely.
And you gotta do the work when other people aren't looking.
Come on.
So that's what I hope I can bring to this. I mean, I expect that that will happen. I think we have a really good group that we're bringing.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. What do you hope your legacy with Jamaican basketball will be?
Oh, I've never really considered that. I don't care about my legacy.
I hear that too. I
don't care about that. I guess I just want it to be better than when I found it, I suppose.
I get that.
I want to put everything I have into it to make it better, and I'm not looking for any recognition in any way at all, actually. This is my thank you to a country that has embraced me for 25 years.
Lovely.
And made me feel a part of their culture
Yeah.
and welcoming me and making me part of their family. So yeah, no, I'm not worried about legacies in that regard.
I hear that. I hear that for sure. Thinking about young Jamaican players, maybe they're watching this program, maybe they're listening to it, whether at home in Jamaica or throughout the diaspora. What would you want them to hear about the future of Jamaican basketball?
Well, I'll tell you one thing I would want them to hear if they're in the diaspora and they're under 16 years old is go get the passport.
Yeah, that's right. That's
if
right.
If you have any thought in your mind ever
Yeah.
that you want to be a Jamaican basketball player, or that, someday, even if you just love basketball and you're the 12th man on your team right now,
Yeah.
and when you're 12 years old, that if you have the love and passion for it, you never know what your future will be.
That's right.
I was talking with Norman Powell yesterday, and we were talking a little bit about that. And I was like, yeah, I got cut from every team I was on until I was 15 years old. And Norman said he didn't make the varsity until he was a junior in high school.
Come on.
So you guys bloom at different times, and usually the really successful players are late bloomers.
Right.
So if you think you ever want a chance to play Jamaica basketball, go get your passport before you turn 16 years old. And then whether you do or don't, there won't be any doubt as whether you're able to play. But what I would want them, ask me again what your question was, because as soon as you asked me that, I went to passport right away.
No, but I felt the conviction. You make me want to go get my kids their passports right after this call.
For sure, please do. Yeah.
So now, just talking about these young athletes throughout the diaspora. What do you want them to hear about the future of Jamaican basketball?
Yeah, that's right. Just that there is a future for it. That's what I want them to know, that we're trying to build a program that is long lasting, that will continue, that won't go 12 years without competing, that there are people behind this that believe in it and have a vision for it and are working hard to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, on their side of it, they need to put the same hard work into it.
Yeah.
These things, this is hard, doing what we're doing and trying to build a program that essentially from scratch, really, we were nowhere. And we're kind of starting to do this just out of whole cloth.
Yeah.
And it's hard work. And so respect that hard work by working hard yourself. And like I said a little bit earlier, do it when no one's watching, have a plan and make it happen. If you want to be great at anything, you got to work at it. If you want to be a great basketball player, you got to put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just happen. And if you do, you'll be paid off, and the sport can take you to great places.
Absolutely. Most definitely. So how can people support the team and the work that you're doing? What can we do? I know you talked about every little bit helps, but how can we support?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, donations are great. Individual donations help. You can go to our website, www.jamaicabasketball.org.
Mm-hmm.
And you can donate right there on the website. Also, Venmo, Jamaica-basketball. Easy. Any donations are appreciated, from the smallest amount to bigger amounts. If you know somebody that has a business that might want to get behind this, let them know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting us on social media and liking our things and growing our reach, so other sponsors see that we're reaching, getting a lot of eyes, just all of that stuff. Every time I watch a YouTube video, someone says, smash the subscribe button.
That's right.
So just do that stuff. It helps us.
Awesome.
Jamaica _basketball on Instagram. Just anything, like we need the funds, we need the support, we need ideas, well, we're open to anything. This is a project that is an all-inclusive, we're
Yeah.
not looking to keep people out of it. We
Right.
want to bring people into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you fall into one of these three categories, you're either you love basketball, you have a passion for the sport and can get behind um, Cinderella stories, and you just love the sport of basketball. If you've been to Jamaica, if you took your honeymoon in Jamaica, you did vacation in Jamaica, you're from Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
or you have some sort of passion for the country for whatever reason, you can get behind what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think and have a belief that athletics can lift up communities and do positive things for people within communities, and grow a country socially, you can get behind this. If you
That's it.
fall into any of those categories, you can get behind what we're doing. Um, and I think if you fall into all three of those, it's a home run.
Oh, for sure.
Like be a fan of Jamaica basketball and root for us.
Yeah. Well, I know I count myself in that number already. I am so excited about Jamaica basketball, and so just over the moon appreciative for the work you and the whole team is doing to show that this is something that we will excel in as well. So just really prayerful and hopeful and excited about it for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for this platform to be able to talk to people and share my passion for it. And we're so excited. We're going to Boca Raton on July 28th for about a week-long training camp at Florida Atlantic University. And we have to thank the people at Florida Atlantic for allowing us to use their facilities.
Mhm.
And then we go to Mexico. And like I said, it's a huge 3 days for the future of Jamaica basketball. And
For sure.
if things go our way, which we intend that they will, then look out, we're coming.
Yeah, I hear that. Definitely hear that. Well, Coach Turner, this has been a honor and a joy and a privilege, and I want to thank you. I want to thank Jamaican basketball and for everyone who's watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to baddestchaplain.com. We're also on YouTube at Baddest Chaplain, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any and all platforms where you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify as well. But until next time, be well, take care of yourselves, and go enjoy some good basketball, y'all. Take care. Peace.
Mm.